Welcome everyone to Spirit Coffee Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very excited to be talking about the energy of the eclipse and Mercury retrograde. We could even throw in solar flares in there because there is so much energy at play right now. But the beautiful thing is with conscious choice and discernment, we can really choose what we want to do in the situations if we can catch that moment of choice. We want to talk a little bit about that. So thank you so much for joining us. And I did forget to say I'm Ginette Byro, and we have Lisa Richmond and Elyse Cathry, and we are some of the mediums and channelers at Avalon Spirit. So we're excited to dive into this. So welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hey.
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 I feel like that intro was indicative of Mercury in the
Totally.
microwave and all of
Mercury
the
in the
things.
microwave.
Well,
that
you know
are
what's funny?
happening.
I started the intro and my guides are like, hey, you forgot to say who you are. I'm like, okay, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm like, let me just finish this statement. Like, this is what's been going on for me the last couple days. So, um, yeah. So that's how I'm feeling. How are you ladies feeling? How's the energy treating you right now?
Lisa?
I'm just still like floating on a Sedona high. I just got back from Sedona, Arizona, and I don't know if anybody's been there, but it's literally the best place I've ever been. And I've been a lot of places, and that was so amazing. So I am doing fantastic.
That's so good.
So good. And yes, we had to fly in retrograde and we had to, but it was just like it was flawless and it was good. And then we got back and got to experience the 4-4 portal, which I don't know if you ladies tuned into it all. I felt like it was such a beautiful, continuous inflow of energy. I'm Aries, and so I'm experiencing all this like crazy Aries stuff in Aries right now. So it's like I'm doing my Chiron stuff and wounding, like old wounding, and I'm like integrating and like open up to receiving all this stuff. And so it has been wild working with the moon, which I love. And like I feel like all the things that have been coming up for me now, had they come up maybe 5 years ago, it might have been a little freaky deaky. But I think that having the spiritual support in Sedona for me personally, I think that was a bit of a help, a bit of a
Mm.
booster for me. So I'm feeling like ready to roll for sure, but extra energy for sure. I've got that extra kind of Aries motivation going on right now, that taking charge. I feel like I'm using this energy to put things into place and to really like put to bed old doubts, old self-limiting things, and like stepping forward in leadership for me. Like that's kind of the energy of this like Aries season, is like almost like this could be positive or negative, whatever, but like as an Aries, like lots of times Aries energy is like, I don't really give an F. Like I'm gonna do this and I'm going to lead this way. It's a very like fiery energy. And so I think it's giving people the opportunity right now to like put themselves first and step forward and be like, all right, what action steps do I need to take? Like, and with the Chiron, which is the wounded healer right now, is like, what are the things that are coming forward that I'm clearing? I'm saying this doesn't resonate with me anymore. I'm not taking this with me on my ascension. I'm not going forward, holding on, whether it's like old childhood wounding, where the false beliefs about your limitations came in. This is the opportunity to kind of like step forward and like sift through that, because it's all coming forward. So it's really, when you say discernment, it's really like the ability to be confronted with everything. And it's like, how do you want to take it on? Do you want to say, oh, like this still feels debilitating? No judgment, just take a look at it. Or it's like, this is really front and center right now. It's like right in my way. Look, this is the last time we come face to face. This is the last time that this is going to come up for me. I'm ready to put you to bed, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
that's the fiery energy that I'm feeling. And I feel like an extra oomph of ability to be able to say like toodaloo to those things.
Boundaries. And
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
totally agree. I have noticed that for myself too. I've been able to exert boundaries clearly where needed with more like ease and grace. less trepidation, right?
Yes.
Less worry. And it feels like it's coming from a greater point of personal truth, like calm personal truth,
Mm-hmm.
which, yeah, that's really interesting. Hmm. How about you, Elyse? What are you feeling?
Yeah, well, so it's interesting because Aries is a real forefront. Obviously, we're in Aries, and then Libra has also been a big piece. The new moon eclipse a couple weeks ago was in Libra, and I sun in Libra. So for me, and then Libra's in the South Node, which has a similar, I think, Healy vibe around. Anyway, I don't know. I've
Yeah,
heard
it's like
I've heard the
what's
people
in the
smarter than me talk
past,
about
right? The South Node is like what's in
yeah,
the past, where the
yeah,
Aries is in the North Node of like what you want, what
yeah,
you're getting
yeah,
known for, kind of thing. Yeah. And
yeah.
you're
Of course,
Libra.
it's because same, but
Yes.
same but
Look at
different.
that.
Yes,
Like,
yeah. Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm noticing similar themes. I would say not with the same fiery energy, but it's interesting because Libra, has a lot to do with balance, right? The symbol is the scales of balance. And so what I'm noticing is a real kind of balancing act of this really fast-paced energy that like I feel like I'm on a bullet train. Like I just feel like and that is showing up in like day-to-day life, but it's also showing up in like energy and just everything, kind of all facets of life and even time. Like I don't even know how it's April 5th. I have no, it's my mind cannot wrap its head around that. So
Almost glitchy fast, hey?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's that really kind of fast paced energy. And then there's also, I'm experiencing this really kind of slow down energy where it's calling forth those big pieces to come to the surface. So it feels very stop start and can feel a little disorienting because it's like fast paced. And then all of a sudden I feel like the brakes are slammed on and everything slows right down. And then there's like this highlight on something to come up, to look into, to feel into, to work with, to whatever, right? And it's all focused on healing. And a real big, which is often really connected with the eclipse, is this like letting go and this surrendering into, okay, things are being cleared out for us, which is like I think what a lot of people fear in the eclipses, but also it's the real beauty of it is that if you just kind of show up in the ways that you're called to, the things kind of clear themselves. And while
Mhm.
sometimes that's hard and painful, or something that our mind doesn't want to be cleared, it also is for our higher, like our best good and for where we're meant to be going. And so for me, it's like this kind of fast pace and then slow down, and then really like a spotlight will be shone on something to sit with, to move through, that I maybe intuitively feel is going to be cleared relatively soon, or I'm like, something feels wonky there. There's boundaries that need to be set, or maybe I'm not respecting my boundaries or the boundaries that have been, put for me, or whatever that looks like. So it's very stop start, and my brain, I'm finding, is can feel disoriented and a little bit like, what's happening, and chaotic. But then when I drop into it, it's like, no, everything's fine. Like it's okay. And I can feel, and again, it's that contradictory kind of balancing energy of like the brain can feel very chaotic, the world can feel very chaotic. But then when I'm dropping into it, it feels really peaceful. It feels really chill, almost to the point where my brain is like, don't you care about what is happening? Don't you care
Mm-hmm.
that, this thing came up and it's going to cost you a lot of money? Or like, don't you care? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, but it'll be fine. And kind of moving forth. So it's very contradictory and intense, but also slow, illuminating, dark, all the things,
All the
Yeah.
things.
all the things.
You know,
Yeah.
Summarize.
that makes a lot of sense to me too, because I know for me, it has felt very, I have had several people say to me at different times over the last few weeks, um, you don't seem like you're fully here, right? They're like, you seem so calm, but like you're not fully here. Like you're having a conversation with me and I know you're interacting with me, but I just don't feel you're fully here. And not in a way of being like aloof or dismissive, because they're like, like you're with me, but where are you also? Right. And I have been feeling so multidimensional and just like aware of different timelines and places at the same time. Like that interconnectedness of all things and just like moving through time before that linear time occurs here and seeing it before it happens, then things happen, or being aware of just different dimensional levels or different aspects. Like I feel really expanded through this experience. And when you were saying, Elyse, like fast, slow, clear, um, it's interesting because I feel all those things, but I also feel that like, but everything is, and we make choices. And what do I choose in this? And it doesn't mean I haven't gotten flustered with things, but like there's this really like it to me, it has not been linear or on one plane. It has been like this is how I feel I've been moving through things, which has been really interesting. And so like if that happened 5 years ago, I would have felt completely unsteady. Whereas now I'm like, yes, yes, that's how I feel. So it's interesting to hear what you're both of you are explaining and that like even that clarity and shift energy, like there's a really interesting shift energy that I think a lot of people are feeling, but they don't know what to it's not see, this is where I'm expanded and maybe I'm not even using words right now. What language is this? But
Where am I?
there what's happening? No. There's just such a like there's such a split between 3D and 5D right now happening as well. And so I feel like people are just really starting to create their new realities and what that looks like for each individual person. So that's, I think there's such a magnificently huge shift happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The change energy is huge.
Mhm.
And some people embrace change like with more ease than others, whether it's practice or just whatever, no better or worse, but like change can hold a frequency that is different for everybody, right? But inevitably everybody's experiencing enormous change in different avenues of their life right now, for sure. And I think that split is definitely a big part of that.
Mhm.
And so I think we talked about this a few weeks ago where something would occur. Let's say like some instance occurs or a situation happens, and it's almost like you act or respond unconsciously because that's how you would have like before. And it just doesn't land the same way, like it doesn't elicit the same things, and you want to react the same way. And you're like, yeah, no, it's just like it's not the same. Like I'm not either triggered or it doesn't elicit the same fear response system. And
Mhm.
that is a really good indication that like consciously and unconsciously you are shifting and you are upgrading and it is a new and evolved frequency of a timeline that we're all moving into in different ways, right? And it can be glitchy and time and space is a little funky for sure. And everybody's headed in a direction. And if you're watching this, guaranteed you're headed in a certain direction of ascension, right?
Mhm.
And so with that change can come unstable ground, but it's almost like you've been unconsciously working at this for a really long time. So trust yourself. Trust yourself in this process. Trust yourself when situations come up that normally would elicit fear because of the change. If it's a big move you're experiencing, or a change in career, or like a dynamics change within your family, right? If that happens, just go really in and be like, how do I really feel about this versus how I would have responded, 5 years ago or even 6 months ago,
Mhm.
right? We have been expanding and growing in this evolved state for a while now. So
Yeah.
really like go inside and actually see what is being elicited. What did you pull?
So this is funny. So you saying trust yourself is like it just totally stood out to me. Um, Spirit has been showing me the symbolism of an acorn for a little while, and they will bring that symbolism through when someone is like stepping into another state of consciousness. Like it is like untapped, unlimited potential within that one acorn can become a massive tree, right? So if you hold the energy of the acorn, you're holding the energy of unlimitedness, essentially, right? So I always see the acorn as like a really amazing symbol. And so they'd been showing me that the last little while. And then I pulled this card this morning of acorns, and it says, believe in yourself.
Yes.
Right? Like exactly what you're talking about. And it's so true. When I saw this card come out, I was like, well, absolutely. Like trust in what's unfolding
Yeah.
and like be like in my other deck, the Avalon deck, there's the like notice what you noticed card, which is really how the universe is like, just notice what's happening and then choose accordingly and like
Yeah.
trust in your ability to choose at this point because you've come a long way.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like anyone watching this, you're most likely not brand new to the idea. And if you are, that's fantastic too. But it's like trust in how far you've come already. Like you have street cred. So like hold on to it in
Yes.
your steps forward. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this eclipse season is really illuminating that, really. It's
Yeah. I
illuminating
really
how far
think
you've
so.
come. It's a lot of stuff is about like what's hidden behind because of the whole eclipse thing. It's like
Mhm.
what has been hidden. When you get the moon card in tarot, it's kind of like what's being hidden under the surface, and that's really surfacing. And it's like you've been training for this for a long time. So
Mhm.
really like be conscious about what comes up because it really is showing up for your greater good.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Any tidbits of I mean, it depends on when people are watching this. If you're watching this before the eclipse, um, fantastic. If not, the eclipse energy does last a little bit after, but any messages or tips in dealing with the peak and the post energies?
I'm like,
Elyse
I'm
is
like not
laughing.
functioning over here before you ask that. So it's funny you ask. Well, not funny, but I don't know if I look as fidgety as I feel in my body, but I'm like, I can't handle myself over here right now. Like I just uh, um but what they were saying, and this is why, because I was like, oh, what is happening? Like I just feel like I want to crawl out of my skin. Um and what they were saying is like it's really this energy, and we've talked about this in snippets before, but all of this also ties into like the physical shifts within our body and how this is changing our human form and to move and like not, I mean, if like a workout or something structured is what you feel called towards, cool, great, that's fine. But also, even just in the moment of like feeling something really intense or feeling really wobbly, like stand in your kitchen and flail your arms around and shake your body. And like it
Mhm.
might, your brain, our brains often say, like, oh, that's weird or whatever. But like just allow your body to move in any way that it needs to in any given moment, like, safely, not driving your car or something, but like,
Yes.
road rage. And then you start shaking. But, because part of that movement is like well, it's releasing it, right? And from a stress perspective, from a nervous system perspective, that's all great, but it's also transmuting or and integrating and um decoding
Yeah.
Mhm.
decoding things. So it's like, uh, you know the decode, because I was just like, well, what does decoding mean? But from the perspective of that release experience, it's
Yeah.
allowing you to like undo the things that are wired within you, that are coded within you, that aren't serving you anymore. So you might not even necessarily know at any given moment, but it's just like roll around on your floor,
You
stretch,
know
and
what?
I did that last night.
yeah, me
That's
too.
interesting. So, okay, because on the same theme, um, I have noticed this last week in dance, I have felt even more expressive, more in flow in my body. Every move I'm doing sharper, bigger, bolder. And it was like coming from within. I'm like, what is this? Like, who's this dancer? Right. But it was like releasing. Every move felt releasing. And you
Mhm,
just nailed why.
mhm.
That is so cool. Thank you
That
for
is
that.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah.
yeah. And Lisa, to your point, like, yeah, I rolled around on the floor last night too. I was like, I had a group and I was like, I'm gonna do some yoga before. And then I didn't. I just like flopped around. because that was just what my body wanted to do. I'm like, one leg over this
That
way, one leg over
is
that way.
hilarious.
And then you
I
just
like
like
the whole
pause and
body
you're like,
roll.
oh, yeah. A little log roll down a hill, you know.
Through the kitchen. Do,
I
do,
did.
do, do.
It was in the kitchen from the table to the kitchen.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh my gosh, I love that. What do you have to? Just rolling.
Just log
Barrel
rolling.
rolling on my hardwood floor.
Oh my goodness. That's
Oh
awesome.
gosh.
That is awesome, actually.
Kaylee, so what did you get?
I got like almost like buckle up. Like, get ready. It's coming. Like, it's coming and it's great, but you're in for a change. And it is like a awakening. It is a almost like a rebirth energy. And whether you feel it intensely or whether you feel it subtly, it is going, you are going to experience an aspect of change and momentum. And so, yes, Elyse, like, move your body through, because in whatever which way you can integrate this energy coming in is beautiful, and in whichever way that feels comfortable. It doesn't have to be public, doesn't have to be private, it can be whichever way is comfortable for your body, but you will know intuitively how to do it. And if you don't, how you're going to feel it is almost like you were describing, Elyse, where you feel a little bit like uncomfortable in your skin. It's like, I want to crawl out of my skin. Or if you hold it in like, what are your tension spots when you hold energy? So mine is like the back of my neck. Mine is like where my skull hits my neck kind of thing. That's where I hold it. Or whether you can hold it in your hips is a big one, top of shoulders. And if you feel like all of a sudden you're feeling almost like a compact pressure essence in it, not from like an injury, but like that compact pressure kind of energy, know that this is the energetic input that is coming through, and just move it through. Visualize light moving it through, move your body through, even using sound, right? That can really, really help. But essentially, my guides were like, yeah, like, buckle up, because everybody's going to feel it to some extent. And it's beautiful, and it's for our ascension. We're walking into the new earth frequency, and so it's like, welcome, right?
Yeah. I got the exact thing, Lisa. It's so funny. I really did. I'm just going to echo what you said, because as you were talking, they shared the same things you then explained, which is their words were, allow your transformation to take place. Allow yourself to transform, and however that is, like all the things we've talked about, right? Movement is key. You guys did talk about that. And then the last thing they brought in was sound. They said, allow sound to help you move it through. And they were so specific in those things. Allow sound to help you move it through your transformation.
Yeah.
It'll help move it through your body and your being.
Okay, so I'm going to just do like just a little plug here, just because this actually does apply to this. I do what I call Spirit Saturdays, and I play my bowls, and I'm always intuitively guided for different things. But this particular one, I worked really hard on, and I have all the bowls for each chakra. And so I did each chakra, I did a chakra clearing, and on the screen, I don't speak, I just play, but I have like the words and the explanation of each chakra, which is different this week. And I did it like a little bit ago. And I've been holding on, and my guides are like, you need to release it this Saturday. And I think it's because it's integrating this big energy. Because if, as you go through your chakra system, right, allowing the your power points of each chakra to open up and let the energy flow, easily and openly, it's really going to help integrate this energy, this incoming energy. So tune in tomorrow, Saturday, for Spirit Saturday on Beyond Boundaries with Lisa Richmond. I'll play some bowls, and then it's like a whole chakra healing system. I go through all 7.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Okay, I will link your latest video to the end of this one, which will get them to your page. So they'll have to
because the
find
latest one was yesterday, and that was part 1, where I actually speak about each chakra, and then part 2 is tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ginette.
Yeah, of course.
As Lisa was talking, and then Ginette, it's funny that you were bringing through the same thing. They were showing me, and I was like, so they were showing me a roller coaster, right? And as you're like creeping to the top, you're on the roller coaster. You're not getting off. Like, buckle up. The drop is coming, right? And we can all have, if anyone, some people love roller coasters, some people hate them, some people are terrified, some people it's enthralling, to your point about change. And, you know, as you go down the roller coaster, right? As you reach that peak point, and then all of a sudden that really big energetic shift happens where you're dropping. Everybody does something different, right? Some people put their hands up and express it in a really expansive way. Some people scream and make so much noise to allow their bodies to move through the intensity of the experience.
Yes.
Some people will grip on with dear life and hold on so tightly, which is a body expression of like really contracting your muscles and allowing the body to express and feel the like intensity that you're going through. So it's like, use what, through movement, through sound, through, whatever's coming up, use those different things to express and transmute and move the energy, because it'll feel really relieving quickly, right? Like once you get to the bottom of that drop, then you're like, shit, okay, that part's over. But then typically what happens, I mean, for me anyways, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but the rest of the ride doesn't feel so intense, right? On a roller coaster, usually the first drop is like the craziest, or
and
it
then you
feels
just
the
kind of
craziest.
riding the adrenaline, and it's like,
And then you're like, okay, and you still do those same sound movement things, but it's a different experience. So it's like really lean into whatever that is.
The draw.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
love
fun.
it.
That's a really fun way to end off, Elyse.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, ladies, thank you so much for your insights. And thank you all so much for watching. We hope you have a beautiful eclipse experience and transformation. And we will be back again next week.